Steps in project planning. What is meaning by steps? See, before have doing the project, before have doing the project, see, before you are doing the project planning, steps in project planning. What is meaning by steps in project planning? Define project objectives, define project objectives, define project objectives. See, steps in project planning, define project objectives, identify the stakeholders, conduct the project scope definition, create the work breakdown structure, sequence of activities. What is calling about sequence of activities? See, first one is planning, then will be scheduling, then will be controlling. This is the sequence of activities. This sequence of activities implemented in companies. There are varieties of companies implemented in project planning. See, next I'll be go for estimate the activity duration. Estimate the activity duration. See, steps of project planning. See, next that is very important. Conduct the project scope definition. Next, create the work breakdown structure. Create the work breakdown structure. Sequence of activities. See, determine the logical order. Determine the logical order. Mm, you think what is meaning by determine the logical order uh, and dependencies among the project activities to create the project schedule by identifying the processor and successes. See, any one project to start and then will be success. That is calling about sequence of activities. Next, that is next steps. Estimate the activity durations. What is calling about estimate the activity duration? See, estimate the activity duration, estimate the time required to complete each activity, consider factors such as task complexity, resource availability, resource availability. See, create the estimate the activity durations, estimate the time required for complete each activity, consider the factor such as task complexity, resource availability, and dependencies. Use statistical data and expert judgment and estimation technique like analogies and estimating the parametric estimating. Allocate the resources. What is calling about allocate the resources? Identify the resources required for each activity, such as personal, equipment, material. Determine the quality, and availability of resources. Allocate the resource based on the estimation requirement and project priorities. That is calling about allocate the resources. Develop a project schedule. See here, develop a project schedule. You want to maintain the proper schedule in the project. See here, develop a project schedule. Identify and access risk. See what is calling about identify and access risk. Identify the potential risk that may be impact project objectives. Analyze each risk like would potentially impact uh, uh, detectability, develop a risk response strategies to mitigate and address the identify risk. Develop a communication plan. See, that is very important. Define a communication plan that outlines how project information will be shared, who will be involved, and the frequency and format of communication. Establish the effective channel for project team member project team member. Next, that is very important. See, estimate the project cost, establish the project governance, document the project plan, review and gain approval. These are all the steps in project planning. Next, see, project planning structure. What is calling about project planning structure? See, any one project will be start before you have a proper structure. That is calling about the project information, that is calling about to project initiation, project scope definition, resource planning, schedule development, risk management, cost estimation and budgeting, communication and stakeholder engagement, quality management, procurement and contract management, change the management. See, totally having 10 points. Project planning structures, project initiation. First you have in the project, that project can will be initiation. That is that project can initiation. See, project initiation, project scope definition, resource planning, schedule development, risk management, cost estimation and budgeting, communication and stakeholder engagement, quality management, procurement and contact management, and change the management. This all 10 points will be coming in the under the project planning structure. Next, I will move for documentation, reporting, review, and approval. This is the see project policies. What are the project policies? Is there change the management policy? First one, change the management policy, risk management policy, communication policy, quality assurance policy, procurement policy. Total, you have five policies. Is there? Change the management policy, risk management policy, communication policy, and quality assurance policy, and procurement policy. See, see, tools of project planning are tools of see tools of project planning. First one, a Gantt chart. See, that is one of the important tools of project planning tools. See, these are all tools you have required to the project planning. Project planning involves the use of various tools, techniques, help organize, analyze, and communication the project information. Those tools assist in creating the project schedule and managing the resources, identifying the risk, and tracking progress. Here, some commonly used tools project planning. See, Gantt chart, work breakdown structure, network diagram, project management software, risk assessment tools, resource management software, cost estimation tools, communication and collaboration tools, documentation tools, quality management tools. These are all totally 10 points is there in tools of project planning. Gantt chart, work breakdown structure, network diagram, project management software, risk management tools. See, what is calling about Gantt chart? See, Gantt chart visual representation of the project schedule. See, Gantt chart means visual representation for the in your projects work breakdown structure. The second one is work breakdown structure, and third one is the network diagrams. Network diagrams means you have a proper network, you have will be diagrams. Project management softwares, project management softwares, risk assessment tools, resource management software, cost estimation tools, communication and collaboration tools, documentation tools, and quality management tools. See, second one, work breakdown structure. Work breakdown structure is the historical decomposition of the project scope into smaller, manageable work packages. Smaller and manageable work packages. That is calling about work breakdown structure. Work breakdown structure means you want to divide the work in historical decomposition of the project scope into smaller, manageable work package. Next, network diagrams. Network diagrams such as procedure diagramming method or a critical path method show the logical relationship and dependencies between the project activities. Project management software. What is calling about project management software? See here, project management software such as Microsoft Project, Pre6, Trello provide a range of features to support the project planning. Those tools enable to creation of the project schedules, resource allocation, progress tracking, collaboration among them members. Next, that is very important, risk assessment tools. What is calling about risk assessment tools? See here, risk assessment tools such as matrix and probability impact grids help identity access. Next, you have in a prioritize project risk. Those tools assist in evaluating the likelihood and potential impact of risk, enable effective risk mitigation and contingency planning. Next, resource management software. What is calling about resource management tools facilitate the allocation and tracking of project resources. They help they help they help in identifying the resource requirement, assigning the resource to activities, monitoring resource utilization. Cost estimation tool. Cost estimation tools such as spreadsheets, a project management software with built-in cost tools modules, assist in estimating project cost. Tools, those tools enable to calculating the direct cost, indirect cost, and contingencies, helping the budgeting and financial planning. Project scheduling. What is calling about project scheduling? First one, define activities. Sequence activities. Estimate the activity duration. Develop the project schedule. Identify the critical path. Allocate the resources. Consider the constraints and development. Update and monitor the schedule. Schedule contingents. Communicate the schedule. See, project scheduling totally having 10 points. Define activities, sequence activities, estimate the activity duration, develop the project schedule, identify the critical path, allocate the resources, consider the constraints and development, update and monitor the schedule, schedule contingencies, communicate the schedule. This is calling about project scheduling. See, next, time monitoring efforts. What is calling about that's very important in time monitoring. See, Time monitoring effort estimates the baseline, regular progress tracking, project status meeting, performance matrix and key performance matrix, key performance indicators, earned value management, scheduled variance and scheduled performance index, issue and risk tracking, change control, regular communication, schedule adjustments. See, this is the time monitoring efforts. See, time monitoring efforts estimate the baseline. Okay, estimate the baseline. Regular progress tracking, project status meeting, performance matrix and key performance indicator, earned value management, scheduled values, variance and scheduled performance index, issue and risk tracking, change the control and regular communication and schedule the adjustment. Next, bonding schedules. Activity level bonding schedule, project level bonding schedule, buffer size, buffer management, communication and transparency. C. Scheduling to match availability of manpower. C. Identify the resource availability of manpower, man resource availability activities, collaborate with the team members, adjust the activity duration, resource leaving, consider the resources and skill sets, implement the resource management software, regularity monitor and update, adapt to change, communicate the schedule change. See, scheduling to match release pound funds. See, scheduling to match release funds, understand the funding requirements, develop a financial plan, coordinate with the finance and accounting, align milestone with funding triggers, monitor cash flow, collaborate with function sourcing, prioritize the activities, buffer for contingents, communicate the funding requirements, regularly regularly review and adjust. This is scheduling to match release points. Next, problem in scheduling the real life projects. See, what are the problems will be scheduling in real life projects? Uncertain and changing the requirements, limited resource availability, dependence and independencies, critical path variation, external factors and dependencies, resource allocation conflicts, estimation and accuracy, communication and collaboration issues, risk events and contingents, stakeholder expectations. These are all the problem in scheduling the real life projects. See, next I will go for situation analysis, internal analysis, external analysis, fifth analysis, stakeholder analysis, risk analysis, performance analysis, and financial analysis. This is the situation. Whatever situation is there, that situation you want to do the analysis. That is calling about internal analysis, external analysis, fifth analysis, stakeholder analysis, and risk analysis. See, next, that is very important. Identify the problem, gather gather the information, define the problem statement, analyze the impact, identify the root cause, set clear objectives, scope the problem, engage the stakeholder, validate and refine, documentation the problem definition. These are all the points to cover in the fourth unit. Next, I will move for the fifth unit. Thank you, everybody. Please listen and you